If you're employed, the 1st and the 15th of every month hold a special place in your wallet. Some of us get direct deposits, some get a check, others get handed cash. But what happens in the all too often case when the money runs dry before the next pay period, while lives costs continue to pile up? Well, for a large percentage of workers, they go to payday loan shops, which purport to solve customers' problems, but research shows that these operations are actually creating bigger ones. Although payday loans are advertised as being helpful for unexpected and emergency expenses, 7 in 10 borrowers use them for regular, reoccurring expenses such as rent and utilities. The average payday loan requires a lump sum repayment of $430 on the next payday, consuming 38% of the average borrower's gross paycheck. However, research shows that most borrowers can afford no more than 5% while still covering basic expenses. As a result, most borrowers renew or reborrow the loans. This explains why the CFPB found that 80% of payday loans are taken out within 2 weeks of repayment of previous payday loans. These payday loan operations have been a long source of predatory lending and have played a crucial role for people in lower income communities in accessing capital in between paychecks. But, in the age of the internet and ubiquitous data, why does our payment system continue to be so slow and make it necessary for payday loans to be a thing? The pace of payment arriving for work completed creates this problem that payday loans and advances have feasted on for decades, further entrenching poverty and related money issues. Luckily, one company is working to combine recent advances in HR and financial services to make payday loans a thing of the past. Welcome to Onwrd, the podcast where we explore social innovations and innovators who are working hard to solve some of our society's biggest problems. Today's guest is the son of a construction worker who is implementing a 21st century solution to solve the many failures of the employer payroll. Ep.7 is a professor, entrepreneur, and social innovator who is dedicating his time to solving the problems presented by our current payment infrastructure. Welcome, Euros. Thanks so much for joining me today. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you for the invitation to come on your podcast.
Absolutely. Really appreciate you making time. I know you've been all over the world. You've been hustling. But before we jump into anything, let's just kind of start with some context for the listeners. What is the current problem that you are working so damn hard to solve?
So we are fixing the clunkiness of payments, especially for wages. Here in the UK, we're all on a 4-weekly like a roll for payroll, and that delay in wages will then cause big problems for employees.
In the UK, employees only get paid once a month?
Yes, yeah, that's the status quo. That's how it's been for probably 100 years.
Huh. In the States, there's the common meme of the 1st and the 15th every 2 weeks, and payday loans continue to be a problem on our side of the pond as well.
Okay, yeah, and of course nobody questions it. That's just how it's always been. And it was only when I sat down and listened to it was Stefan Tual talking about Ethereum back in 2015, and how it was like a click. Hold on, we now have programmable money, and I thought, man, that's going to make a huge impact to society. We could get rid of these bottlenecks, and we can get rid of delays in wages and turn money into a stream of money. so that's the big problem that I saw a fix to, and then launched Etched.
And why is this issue important to you?
Well, I've been on both sides. I've been, because my background is construction, and I studied architecture. I was the guy on the building side passing the work. So I'd be there on behalf of the clients, and I would see work done by contractors, and I would approve that work and then say yes, okay, that money can be released. But then, of course, it all then depends on the clients, if they had the money in place, and the general scheme of things was like it would always be a few weeks, and huge problem. But I've also been on the client, on the actual the construction company side as well, as a contractor, where I've done the work and then it's been approved, and then there's been delays in releasing the payments. Mm-hmm. So the original idea was to fix that niche problem in the construction industry of flow of money from a client through architects and surveyors approving the work to the end, the guy digging the hole.
Right.
And then we realized, oh, hold on, we can, this would be of huge use for other industries and anybody really that gets paid for doing work. And, that could be just, going into work at 9 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 5. There's no reason why with this technology people have to wait for their pay.
And essentially, the Etched technology would enable for me to clock in. As soon as I clock in, that money that I'm earning is being deposited into said account. When I clock out, that money flow stops.
Exactly, yes, and it's and it depends. Some companies require time and attendance, so the app will automatically it will pick up a beacon, and then that will be the thumbs up for them for that flow of money. We've got other clients who time and attendance is not that critical, and if your employment contract states that you should start at 9 o'clock in the morning, then 9 o'clock in the morning that money will flow in, regardless if you're in work or not.
Yeah.
Because it's the nature of that work, and so yes. So what we say to people is, you can on a Monday morning, if you've got no money in your account on a Monday morning, you go to work and you start working, and that money will flow in. So by lunchtime, you can go out and buy lunch with the money you earned that morning.
That's just awesome. And what's been the perspective or the reception from the client side that you're approaching, or potential client side?
Yes, we've had both extremes. Because companies are quite used to keeping their money, and so in a way they use the employees' cash flow or lack of cash flow for their own benefits, and especially for companies who are maybe struggling. So every paycheck is a big event for them. My wife, she's an accountant, and I remember her telling me a while ago about this company who was a multinational company, but it was a huge thing to get to payday. So I think for some companies it's not ideal for them, but for other companies who can afford to pay on time, then it just kicks in the whole social responsibility aspect, and it's gone down really well.
It's great to hear. But what about for someone like me? I'm a consultant. I might be classified as a gig worker, and as we look at workforce trends, we see that the gig economy is something that's becoming more and more commonplace. Does the etch solution have a place in the gig economy?
Yes, oh, absolutely, yes. Because when you think the technology behind this, smart contracts and blockchain, the beauty of that technology is the transparency. And if you can see that the money's there in the accounts, you can go to any one of the blockchain explorers and see, okay, this is my contract, this is my contract. The money's there in an account. I can see it. Yeah? It's not just saying, "Oh, we will pay you."
Right.
You can actually see the money, and then you know what you need to do for that money to be released. And as soon as the work's done, then the money's released. Yeah? And I think from the gig economy, it takes away the uncertainty because the last thing you want is to be sitting on an invoice which hasn't been paid for a long, long time.
Right.
And that's the and of course, to me, that's the power of programmable money and smart contracts. It just takes away all the anxiety away. And sure, there'll be some of your clients who say, "Oh, that's not for me. I don't want to pay your friends. Or it's not paying your friends. It's I don't want to park the money." But then you can make a call and you can say, "Well, actually, I don't quite like that attitude. This is important for me to be paid, and to see it in a smart contract gives me the reassurance that I will get paid."
As you're out there pitching and getting people excited about the etch vision, are you finding that there's a certain, geography, industry, or maybe type of organization culture that is more receptive to this than others?
Yes, I would say low-paid workers and people employing low-paid workers, because for them to be competitive in the industry they're in, maybe they can only pay a minimum wage, because if they were to pay more, then they wouldn't get the contracts in to be able to employ the people. And the conversations we've had with those companies, as long as it doesn't cost them any more, then they're up for making the lives of their employees easier and better.
Yeah.
And those conversations are, to me, those are the rewarding conversations, because it's going to make a huge difference to somebody's life and their family's life.
And that's something that I really got excited about when I first heard about the Etch Vision was you're talking about remittance and how that plays into the wage earner's livelihood. So if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, yes, because when you think a lot of people, they go out to work not only to feed their own family, but if you're a migrant worker, then you're sending money back home. So by sending money back home, you are taxed again. You've got to pay huge fees to send that transaction. And as we all know, when we talk about Bitcoin and how you can move money quick, but then Bitcoin itself is clunky, so you'd need somebody who would understand that on the other side how to deal with Bitcoin. Where with us, if that family member lives in a country where they can use a card or you've got something like M-Pesa for the last mile, for sending money with text message, then we can link those in, and it means like you then just say with your wage, you would then say, okay, well, from my wage, I'd like 10% of my money to be sent home. And then that money would go to that person as you're working in real time.
Oh my goodness. And I just see as the world becomes... I know there's a migrant crisis on every continent, it seems, or maybe a migrant opportunity. But as our workforce becomes more mobile and people moving all over the world becomes the norm, we need infrastructure like this to support kind of the human sector as we enter
yes,
this. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because to be hit with huge fees for the work you've done has a huge impact for them.
Yeah.
And and in a way, I can see how these companies are there because they do serve a purpose, including the payday loan companies. When I started this, I was well up for the fight with them. Looking back at my presentations, it was right. These buggers, they're scum of the earth.
Right.
But of course, if if you're in a situation where you haven't got any money to pay for food to put on the table, and your only option is to go to one of these companies that will give you that money and you pay back in a week's time, then it's a lifesaver. So I'm toning down my fight against them by replacing that need by saying, okay, in the old clunky world, these companies was needed because people had to wait for their wages. But in this new world, there is no wait. Therefore, they will be gone.
Have you found any, I'd call them unlikely allies in people from the legacy payday loan, advanced payday world?
We've had some interesting conversation with people looking to give short-term loans based on your work record more than your credit history. So, so this is never going to take away. This is never going to take away the need if people have an emergency, they need to fix the car or something, and they need to borrow money. Especially in the UK, the credit system is just broken.
Yeah.
So you're penalised again for having low credit score. Maybe you're a migrant worker, where again going back to the the beauty of the blockchain and transparency and accountability is you could see okay, well, this guy has been in full-time employment for a number of years, and then in that case you could give them a better rate for a short-term loan than relying on credit scoring, which I think is totally unfair.
Yeah. So throughout this conversation and also in preparing for this, I kept going back and forth in my mind and said, is Etch a financial services company? Is Etch an HR company? What vertical do you understand Etch to occupy?
Yeah, so we're building a platform and a number of smart contracts, a number of apps that hopefully other people can then come along and say, hold on. So if that employee, if his wages have been streamed in, then he can carry on the other side. Yeah, mm-hmm. It's just, for me, it's just crazy that you get your wages, once a month, as a static transaction, and then you've got to pay all your energy bills, utility bills, again in a static transaction. Where we've had conversations with energy companies, insurance companies, where they would like to be paid quicker for their service as well.
Of course,
which would then pass on that savings to that employee. So are we? What are we? I got no doubts that in the future we will be a kind of a bank, because we will be when you think the power that we will have by receiving those wages into accounts which are controlled by Etch, but we don't want to go there because because at the moment, because of the nightmare to set up as a bank.
Yeah.
So at the moment we're just building a platform that so maybe somebody else will come along with a bank license and say, hold on, we would like to offer our service on the Etch platform. Okay. So it's I'm not sure where we are, to be honest with you. We started off with a vision of doing payroll on the blockchain of streaming wages, and then saw it's much more, and it's something which we call now the edge economy, because I've got no doubt we are building something which is much bigger than just payroll on the blockchain.
And so if Etch is successful, what can we expect to see from you guys in the next 1 year, 5 years?
Well, in the next year, we are now launching a umbrella service for contractors in the UK. Not only are we talking direct with employers, but also we're going to launch a standalone service. So I'm really excited about that, because it will be people out there looking for a PAYE umbrella service, and then what we can offer is going to be much better than what any other umbrella company can offer. And once contractors come on board and they're paid in real time, they're never going to go back to another kind of an umbrella company. Mm-hmm. So that's very, we are quite close to be able to launch that now. And so that's, to me, that's the exciting part, where it's going to be in the hands of hard-working people. In 10 years' time, I imagine that everything's going to be streamed. So not only is your wages then, but all your utility bills, all your payments for loans, mortgages, holidays, anything where we can help people stretch the income they get a little bit further.
Yeah. It's so important, and I'm so appreciative and excited about what you guys are up to.
Well, yes, but I'm under no illusion it's going to be easy, because it's a mind shift.
Yeah.
Sometimes I talk to people and they look at me and they think, that guy's crazy. What planet is he from? But it's only when I explain that it was only a few years ago, when, for me, especially when Ethereum was launched, that this technology is here, and we I think we were one of the first people to try and push that technology to its limits on the programmable money side. But there will be many more companies like us, and it will become a norm. Now, I was talking to my nephew last week, and he's now 17, and he's never been in employment. He's still in school, and I gave him two scenarios of how, once he starts working, how he would be paid. And when I told him that they would, one scenario would be waiting a month, and he looked at me like I was crazy. Yeah. So it's difficult to change people, the status quo for all the people. Before young people, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It strikes me that you're working at the center of a few very dynamic, rapidly changing forces between technology, regulation, workforce. I mean, it's all changing at just an unbelievable pace right now. So I'd like to hear about some of the barriers that you're running into as you're trying to push this exciting innovation forward.
Well, when you just think of payroll in the UK alone, that changes all the time, and there's different kind of the HMRC will see different kind of classification for employees, and I was talking with a company the other week, and it became clear to me that the more we can open the platform for other people with the expertise to come on board, then the better it is, because everything's moving so quickly.
Yeah.
And of course, what we can do really well is the technology side of building out the smart contracts, and to see just a bit in the future where this is going to go. We don't want to be too far in the future, but sure, but we can paint the picture of a year, 2 years down the road, and then try and engage with experts in those different fields to come on board.
And at this point in time, are most of your efforts focused on a singular jurisdiction? UK, Vietnam.
UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that itself is quite a big undertaking. But we are talking with a number of companies out in the States as well. Some very exciting conversations going on there.
Good. We need you over here too.
Yes, but the first product is going to be a UK based solution, and then take it from there.
And because you're so familiar with the space, I'd be interested to know, which country is most advanced, is most ahead of the curve, is the future of payday?
I've got to say the UK.
Really?
I've been lucky I've been running a blockchain meetup in London now for 3 years, and I've got to know people from all sectors, private and government sectors, and I think the UK is becoming more and more open for this technology, and it's especially London. I live in North Wales, and I travel down to London. I stay there for a few days a week, and it's got to be, I think, the centre of this technology, especially in Europe, or maybe the world.
I've had the pleasure of doing a lot of travel this last year, and every time I've been on the European continent, whether it be Spain, London, or Lithuania, I'm always so surprised at how far ahead than anywhere else that I've been to, and where I live, from California, an hour north of Silicon Valley, got to go to Japan this year. But man, what's going on in Europe as it turns to, in terms of financial services for the end users, just, leaps and bounds beyond the rest of the world.
Well, the city of London is just unique. And you only need to go somewhere like Lloyd's of London. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to go there. It's just fascinating, the history and how things haven't changed. So of course, people like us coming along and saying we've got this new technology, amazing technology, but it's got to fit in with the old ways of doing things.
Right.
You can't get rid of them, not yet. And
we need a bridge. We need a bridge.
Oh yes, absolutely. You need one foot on either side, and London, I think, is the right balance for that to happen.
Yeah. So as we kind of turn towards wrapping the conversation up, I wanted to hear your thoughts, kind of taking a step back from Etch and from blockchain. Just hear what projects, what people are inspiring you right now.
I'm a big fan of VR, and especially web VR at the moment. I think people who are pushing the boundaries of web VR are doing an amazing job. Because when you look, because we're all spending so much time on the web doing everything, and nothing has really changed in the last 10 years from a user experience. With if you go to a standard website, and then people, Mozilla, people who are working on web VR, the experience is just unbelievable. And then you combine that with wearables and how with augmented reality, how that world that comes out on the laptop or your phone into the real world. now, that's really exciting. For my kids, we're lucky we've got a Microsoft HoloLens, and we've got chickens running around the house, rats in the kitchen, and they're there. They're anchored there, and for them, they live in this hybrid world of not blockchain like me, like smart contracts on the old school, but they live in this world of reality and then virtual reality through the same lens. So it's this mixed reality. So that's I've been keeping quite a close eye on that space for a long time. I think it's just going to be fascinating.
As somebody who used to play a lot of video games, I've been wanting to pick up one of these Oculus Rifts, or there's a few other good products out there, just because it looks like such a neat, immersive experience. So I'll have to...
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take your word for it. I'll go pick something up or go to Best Buy, check one of them out. So the reason why I wanted to have you on the show, because I consider you, a social innovator, someone with an audacious vision who's trying to solve a problem that really impacts and hinders society. So given your experience in this space, what advice do you have for other social innovators?
You just got to carry on, man. It's just the rejections and the people just don't like change, and all I do is I just bang on it for a very long time. But it's our legacy.
Mm-hmm.
We could, with I had the choice, and I was looking at the opportunities through my network for a very long time, and all the gambling sides, the prediction market sides, on the blockchain. But I just wanted something that I would be proud to talk with my children about. And I think people know. I think if you're working on a project that you can be proud, and your children can be proud. I think then you're on the right track.
Yeah, that's so important. I think that's the dream. That's what a lot of us are after.
Yes.
The right livelihood. So, Euros, I really appreciate your time. Do you have any parting words, shout outs, calls to action for us?
Oh, just to thank you for your continued support, and to thank the community, because we do have an amazing community, and we just got to all. And I think all these, because I think anybody that's done a token sale last year, there's going to be a lot of maybe angry people on social media expecting the 100x straight away.
Right.
I think we all need to help each other, because the more we can collaborate together, because there's amazing projects out there, and I'm a big fan of the Pillar project, and that's one of many which I think is going to which there's an opportunity for more people to collaborate on. So that's an important thing.
Absolutely. Collaboration, keep the relationships, keep mining the connections, and keep doing great work. Euros, yes. I look forward to our next conversation, giving you a big hug when I see you next on your side of the pond. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure as always.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
To learn more about workforce trends and innovations in the workforce development, HR space, I encourage you to check out Future of Work by Jacob Morgan, The Third Industrial Revolution by Jeremy Rifkin, and The Misfit Economy, one of my favorites, by Alexa Clay and Kira Maya Phillips. A big thanks to my sponsor, Jay Lately, for providing the music for Onwrd. Jay Lately is a hip-hop artist who's been pursuing his dream since the age of 16 while juggling jobs that improve the lives of youth in Oakland. If you like good music and want to support independent artists, please go check out soundcloud.com/justlately. Make sure to subscribe to Onwrd via iTunes or Anchor FM. Wouldn't want you missing out on another inspiring conversation with an awesome social innovator. Until next time, onward and upward.